Yo. Welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops. It's your boy, Nikki P. You know what it is. Y'all saw the thumbnail. I'm sure y'all heard the news. Man, and it's breaking news. But yeah, everybody knows about it now. But we about to dive into all the details and the nitty gritty of the GOAT himself, man. MJ coming back to the game. Not to play, but to analyze. Ladies and gentlemen, basketball fans around the globe, today we are witnessing a moment that may very well define how we consume the game we love. It's not a player signing. It's not a blockbuster trade. Nah, it's something even more seismic. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the greatest to ever lace him up, is joining the NBC sportscast as a regular voice, an analyst, a presence on the screen. Let that sink in. The GOAT himself, the greatest player of all time, stepping into the broadcast booth or studio to dissect the game he once ruled like a king. And this must have a lot of new players shaking in their boots because all the appeasing and complacency and placating that goes on. And the Jordan ain't going to be on all that, man. He's going to tell a player what their game like straight up. It don't matter how many points they're averaging. He's going to analyze their game, point out their weaknesses, their strengths, ways they can develop, instead of just glossing out over how quote-unquote great they are and just excusing or dismissing all the holes and mistakes they make out on the court like a lot of analysts and sportscasters do nowadays. This isn't just about a TV gig. This is a cultural pivot. This is a man who made Be Like Mike a global mantra, now telling you what he sees as the game unfolds. The weight of the moment is huge. To understand the magnitude of this move, you have to understand what Jordan represents. 6 rings. Yeah, 6 of them things, man. 5 MVPs. Countless game winners. A complete game with no weaknesses when you cut the film on and don't even look at the numbers. A global icon. A beast offensively and defensively. And yet, throughout all of that, he's been relatively silent post-retirement. He wasn't jumping on podcasts. He wasn't doing halftime commentary while you got other cats wasting time when they could be getting better, focusing on podcasts instead. He wasn't going on NBA Countdown to debate greatness. He was behind closed doors, an owner, a brand, a legend, shrouded in mystique. The most we would hear from him would be, whenever we'd see Stephen A on First Take, and he'd be talking about some of the stuff that Jordan would text him from time to time when it comes to the game and certain players. And we saw that maybe a couple years ago now, that sit down he had with the Cigar Lounge on the GQ, I believe, for 2 or 3 hours, which was fire. If you ain't seen that yet, go check it out. Now, for the first time, he's choosing to speak to us all on a regular basis, too. We should feel lucky. Not in the form of a documentary voiceover, not in the occasional quote, but live, weekly, as part of a super crew on NBC's new NBA coverage. To what? This is the equivalent of Jordan coming out of retirement, out of the tunnel one more time, not in a jersey, but in a tailored suit, cigar in hand. They better let him smoke his cigars too. NBC better not be tripping. Let that man do what he want, when he want, or else, the masses ain't gonna be messing with NBC. Ready to give the world a basketball education from a throne built on blood, sweat, and championships. A savage out there, and that mentality is what you need to become the GOAT. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently. He has GOAT-level insight that we'll be seeing that won't even be comparable, maybe outside of when Kobe was doing those detail episodes and diving into the nitty-gritty and the facets of how players are playing their games, their offense, their strategies, schemes, and all of that. Because if NBC gives him the green light, and that's a big if, we're about to get insight that even the most advanced analytics can't replicate. Jordan isn't just going to talk about pick and roll reads or defensive rotations. He's going to talk about mentality that goes far beyond the numbers, about the killer instinct, about all the intangibles that you can't see on a piece of paper, the intangibles that you need to see by actually watching players play in certain moments too. See what happens when stakes are higher, when the pressure elevates. Do players rise to the occasion, or do they bust like some pipes? And I'm sure he'll be touching on why most players aren't quite built to win when it matters most. As you see nowadays, we see a lot of players balling out in the regular season just to come up short and let their weaknesses get exposed in the playoffs instead of elevating their game and playing even better when the stakes are higher. And that's what the game needs to get back to, and that goes down to, putting that work in. And I'm sure Jordan's going to get into all of that. We'll hear things like why some guys score 40 and still don't scare them, for sure. Why team chemistry and locker room dynamics help win rings. Why stars like Luka or Ja Morant have holes in their approach no matter the stat lines. He might pull back the curtains on moments we never got the full truth on. What really happened with the Dream Team and Isaiah? What was the mindset going into that legendary 63-point game in the Garden? How did he really feel when watching LeBron chase his legacy and still continue to chase it while self-proclaiming the GOAT status, which we see has brought a lot of flack upon him and his team? And let's not forget, Jordan created the blueprint for global superstardom in basketball. He saved the NBA essentially. After Magic and Larry saved it once, Jordan came back and saved it again in terms of taking it from regional to global. When he talks marketing, brand building, he saved Nike. Nike was about to go bankrupt if it wasn't for Jordan, and he himself put that company on his back and blew it up. He's going to be talking about brand building, competitive spirit. You better believe everyone from the league office to the 12 men will be listening. And the big question, the elephant in the room, will NBC let Jordan be Jordan? Now here's the tension point. Will they just let him do his thing, talk how he wants, speak his mind freely, and not have to sugarcoat or placate or censor anything he's talking about, or not have to shy away or stay away from a certain subject because the powers that be at NBC are uncomfortable letting him talk about certain topics? Because we all know that Jordan, real Jordan, is uncensored. All you gotta do is cut the film on. He's intense, he's competitive. It's a crying shame Kobe ain't here. Imagine him and Kobe both doing this together right now. All that GOAT talk about LeBron will be out the door. He's brutally honest. The Last Dance showed glimpses of that fire, and I took that personally, quote unquote. He called out teammates, he clowned opponents, he kept receipts, all receipts. Will NBC let him call someone soft on air? Will they let him question the current superstar's heart? Will they let him smoke the cigar? Because Jordan's not going to be content just being a corporate mouthpiece. He's too proud and too great for that. Too authentic. He's not going to read off a teleprompter and say things he doesn't believe. NBC will have to make a choice. Do they want a polished brand ambassador, or do they want the real Mike? I hope for basketball's sake they choose the latter. Now NBC kind of has their own super team, and Jordan's not doing this alone at all over there. NBC just got the GOAT to be the head of the snake, and they're forming the rest of the body right now with other pieces they done racked up to be on that team with Jordan. They brought Reggie Miller in, one of the coldest, greatest shooters of all time and most confident trash talkers the game has ever seen. Reggie already has years of experience with TNT, and now paired with Mike, especially when everybody knows their history, when they used to be going at it. They even got into a scuffle out there in the game. That's instant chemistry. That's 90s rivalry reincarnated. Reggie isn't afraid to challenge Jordan either, and the banner between those two could be legendary. Then you add Carmelo Anthony to the mix. Another cat in his own right who's one of the greatest scorers to ever lace him up. Melo brings a modern player's perspective, a scoring savant who understands the nuances of today's game and what it means to transition from star to elder statesman. Rumors even point to Candace Parker joining the desk, a WNBA legend with sharp analysis and a no-nonsense attitude. That balance between eras, genders, and play styles, that's the kind of blend that can speak to every basketball fan. NBC isn't just trying to compete with TNT and ESPN, they're trying to dominate in a Jordan-like fashion. Go figure. They're building the 1996 Bulls on TV coverage. What does this mean beyond the X's and O's? It means a cultural shift. Jordan represents a different generation of basketball thinking, a generation where players had to go out there and approach the game like it was war, not just a game. When players weren't friends, ain't hanging out, ain't buddy-buddy right before the ball tips off, before a game, right after, acting like they didn't care if they won or lost, hanging out with the rivals every offseason, doing this and that. You see the difference. These players today don't have real enemies out there on the court, and you can see it in the play. Younger fans will finally get to see what made Jordan different. Not just highlights, but his mind, the most important thing, the mentality, his standards, his philosophy and approach to this game. Players will hear Jordan critique them and have to ask themselves, am I playing the right way? Am I wired like the greats? Could I be better, regardless of what my numbers are? Are there any holes in my game, or is it complete? That could either bruise their egos or elevate their legacies by making them hungrier to get better. And don't underestimate the nostalgic pull. Fans who grew up idolizing Jordan now get to hear him weekly. This isn't just analysis, it's a return of the king. So what does Jordan joining NBC really mean? It means we get a weekly masterclass in basketball from the man who defined it. It means the conversation around the game is about to get realer, sharper, more competitive, and less room for gray area. It's a do or don't, black or white. All that gray area is about to go out the door. It means we might finally hear the truths that only Jordan knows, the unfiltered, raw perspective that could change how we view eras, players, and greatness itself. And if NBC is smart, they'll give him that cigar. Because when the GOAT talks hoops, it's not just a commentary, it's sacred basketball philosophy. Hop in that comment section and let me know what y'all think about these moves NBC made, about Jordan coming back to the game, and what it may mean for the future. This is going to be really big. It's going to be epic. It's going to be historic, just like his career. Once again, it's your boy, Nicky P, with Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops. Thanks for tapping in, and I'll keep coming back with these videos, man. Hop in, holla at me. I'll be sure to respond. Until the next time, peace.